Hey guys, Chris Peach here, and welcome to Money Peach TV. Hey, do you remember growing up learning how to handle money? Yeah, neither do I. So that's why we're here today to make money fun again. We're going to talk about the principles in life that matter when it comes to managing your money the right way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Money Peach TV. Before we jump into this incredible episode of Money Peach TV, I want to take a second to talk to you guys about my #1 online program for showing you how to go from with money to being awesome with money, and that's Awesome Money Course. So head on over to awesomemoneycourse.com so you can see why people all over the world are taking advantage of this #1 online program for showing you how to be awesome with your money. Alrighty guys, welcome back to another awesome episode of Money Peach TV. We are here in episode 10. We're going to talk about becoming ultra fit financially. We're going to talk about the mortgage. So if you missed last episode, I talked about how to retire a millionaire. And what goes hand in hand with retiring a millionaire is someday not having a mortgage. So we're going to talk about that today. So let's talk about this. Let me give you a little story here. Story time is back in 2011 when we paid off our $52,000 in 7 months. I kind of puffed my chest out a little bit and I thought, man, I'm awesome. We just paid off $52,000 in 7 months. We are incredible. And a little bit of that good enough factor set in. And what I mean by that is I felt like we got there. We had made it, right? We paid off our debt. We can go back to life. And luckily, my wife, who's a very strong-willed person and very opinionated, let me know that we have not made it, Chris. We still have a long way to go, and let's go back to our goal sheet. So she let me know that we had a little bit of a victory there, but we had long term here. So what is our long term? Is we want to be able to build wealth for ourselves. So how can we build wealth? Well, last episode I talked about that in investing for retirement, but let's talk about your mortgage. So most people out there have a 30-year mortgage. So first off, why do we have a 30-year mortgage? You know, I've asked around, I've asked in the mortgage industry, I've looked it up. No one knows why. Who came up with this 30-year number? Why not 27? Why not 38? Why not 40? You know, in some countries, the standard is a 40-year mortgage. So why did we come up with this 30-year mortgage? And why is that good enough? It's good enough because it's normal. But remember, I've said this over and over again, normal is living paycheck to paycheck without any money in the bank with a $600 car payment dragged over for the next 80 months or so. That's normal. Normal is broke. We don't want to be normal anymore. So what can we do about this mortgage? So I started taking a look at it, and some of these things I'm going to share with you are going to absolutely blow your mind. So let's say you have a 30-year mortgage, you're making monthly payments. I'm just going to use an example here of a $250,000 home, and we're going to use a 5% interest rate because math is easier at 5%. So if you have a $250,000 mortgage at a 5% interest rate, we could say your payment's right around $1,350 a month, okay? Roughly right around there. Remember, that's just principal and interest. We're not talking about taxes and all that. That's just the payment that goes to the bank. So what if you're paying this 12 times a year monthly? What if you switch that over to bi-weekly? So if you switch it over to bi-weekly, what happens is you save a ton of money. How does that work? Well, there's 26 checks in a year. So let's say we take this bi-weekly method. So instead of paying once a month, we pay every 2 weeks. For most of you, that'll be on payday. What does that look like? Well, what that looks like is in the course of 30 years, you shorten that term down to about 5 years less. So your loan goes from a 30-year to a 25-year. But here's the point that I want to make here. You save $42,000 in interest. $42,000 in interest saved and 5 years of bondage. And all you did is you switched from monthly payments to bi-weekly payments. Why? You're thinking, how does this work? Well, technically, if you're doing bi-weekly payments, you're making one extra full mortgage payment a year because you're actually doing 13 payments if you pay it bi-weekly. So I just saved you $42,000 and 5 years of bondage to the bank right there by switching over to bi-weekly payments. One thing, I highly suggest you do this on your own. Banks love to set you up on a bi-weekly payment and charge you a fee for it, a convenience fee. You can do this on your own. It's very, very simple. Just pay twice or pay bi-weekly, or save up money and make an extra payment at the end of the year. However you want to do it. You can use sinking funds for this, but the point is, do not pay a fee to have someone do this for you. You can definitely do this on your own and save $42,000. So that's one way to look at how to save on a 30-year mortgage. The next way I want you to look at is, let's talk about your car payment. So let's say your average car payment is $480, $490 a month. That's what I looked it up. That's what the average car payment in America is. So let's say instead of having a car payment each and every month, let's just say that you're not going to have a car payment. Remember I talked about a couple episodes ago how car payments suck? Well, here's another reason why they suck. Is let's say we weren't paying money to things that go down in value, but we put money in things that go up in value, like our mortgage. So what if we took that $480 car payment and we applied it to our loan? We applied it monthly to our mortgage payment. What does that look like? Well, if you do the math on that, that saves you 13 years of making a mortgage payment. So instead of paying for 30 years, now you're paying for 17 years. So I just saved you 13 years of bondage to the bank. Here's another thing. I also saved you $112,000. You saved $112,000 by simply deciding to drive a car that didn't have a car payment. You drove a paid-for car, and you took that car payment and you applied it to your mortgage, and now you just saved 13 years and $112,000 in interest. Do you understand why the banks have such tall buildings? It's because we are paying that for them, all right? So let's take it a step further. I'm a huge believer and everybody should have a mortgage on 15 years. Why? Well, the number one reason is the greatest thing about a 15-year mortgage is it pays off in 15 years or less. 15 years or less. How many people do you know that actually stay in their house for 30 years or stay in one town for 30 years? So a 15-year mortgage pays off in 15 years or less. Now, a lot of people think, well, I can't afford a 15-year mortgage because I can't afford a double mortgage payment. Well, that's false. That's not how it works at all. A 15-year mortgage, going from a 30-year to a 15-year, does not double your payment at all. So let's go back to this example. A $250,000 home or a $250,000 mortgage at 5%, we said is roughly about $1,350 a month with a 30-year mortgage. If we shorten it down to a 15-year loan, you're usually going to get a better interest rate, but I'm not even going to include that in this scenario. Your payment goes up about $670 a month. It doesn't double, it goes up $670 a month. So roughly around $2,000, $2,100. What does that do for you though? That just saves you 15 years of bondage to the bank, but it also saves you $127,000. So $127,000. Last episode I talked about retiring a millionaire. I didn't even include talking about having a paid-for house and saving $127,000. So going back to that scenario, when Andrea and I shouldn't say but when Andrea and I paid off this $52,000 and I kind of puffed my chest out, I let myself know that I had made it. We did it. I'm awesome. We've done this. And then I paused for a second because she says, remember that story you told me about how if we paid off our mortgage and we invested 15% of our gross income, how we would retire, not wealthy, but ultra wealthy? That's what I want for you. But it's hard to do that when you have a 30-year mortgage for 30 years. It's hard to do that when you're not saving money. It's hard to do that when you have car payments and car payments. It's hard to do that when you have credit card payments. So what's the point here? The point is, let's build a foundation. Okay, let's build a foundation. Let's get out of debt. Let's start saving money. Let's live on a little bit less than you make. And let's apply the rest of that to things that go up in value. Let's increase the quality of your life in your retirement by having a paid-for mortgage and by having lots and lots of money in the bank. That's what I want for you. I'm not saying you have to go out there and get another job or you have to go out there and learn how to slam dunk a basketball on television. All I'm saying is take your income and take your lifestyle right now and make sure you're applying it in a way where you can live on less than you make so you can build wealth. All right? Remember, 15 years saves you $127,000 on average. That is wild. All right, guys, that is it for this week's episode of Money Peach TV. So next week, I have something fun. We are going to talk about kids and money. And I'm not just talking about little babies crawling around. I'm talking about 18-year-old kids and money. I'm talking about 10-year-old kids and money. How can you show them how to handle money so they don't make the same mistakes we've all made? We'll talk about that next episode. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Money Peach TV. But before you leave, I want you to leave with a free gift. Go to moneypeach.com and please download my free budgeting form. 12,000 people as of today all over the world are using this thing every single month. I want you to be one of them as well. The number one habit of highly successful people is being proactive. Be proactive by getting on a budget. Moneypeach.com. Download the budget there. And also, don't forget to check out awesomemoneycourse.com, the number one online program for taking you from with your money to showing you how to truly manage your money the right way. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week.